of what you can expect on the exam.
So what exactly are these changes in this new Step 2 CK? Just move on from a question where you aren't sure of the answer. And I completed both the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 at the age of 23. So basically I had mixed feelings. So I think that is something that I'm extremely proud of.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I took the USMLE Step 2 CK exam on the 30th of March, and if I have to describe the exam in just one word, it would be challenging. So now, just because this exam is hard, it does not mean that you cannot prepare yourself for it. So in this video, I'm going to share my exam day experience, tell you a bit about my score and what I feel about it, so that you can get a fair idea of what you can expect on the exam.
Since November 2020, the USMLE Step 2 CK has become a little more challenging than it was before. So what exactly are these changes in this new Step 2 CK? Firstly, it's because the questions are not straightforward. By this, I mean that they don't really test you on just one concept. Instead, each question has around 2 or 3 concepts clubbed together. So you have to understand, recall, link all these 3 things together in order to get to the right answer. And the biggest challenge is that your time is limited, so you have to think very quickly and be able to analyze the questions and get to the right answer. Secondly, there's a lot of Step 1 content that is being tested on Step 2. That's because Step 1 is going to become pass-fail from next year. So they're bringing in a lot of things from Step 1 like enzyme deficiencies, lysosomal storage disease, immune deficiencies, and there are many, and majorly pathophysiology. So they're not only testing you on the diagnosis of the disease, they're also testing you on the pathophysiology of the disease. So if you're taking the Step 1 next year, make sure you prepare well and just don't take it for granted because it's pass-fail, because that knowledge is going to help you for Step 2 CK. Ethics. Now, USMLE is focusing a lot on patient safety and hospital policies and stuff like that. Some of those things literally feel like they are meant for law students, but you have to learn it anyway. And the worst part is some of these things are not even in UWorld, so I highly recommend you to check out Divine Interventions podcasts. I've linked his website and his YouTube channel, so do check it out. They're so good because they were very, very, very helpful for the ethics part of it. Worst headache of my life. Does that ring any bells? I'm sure thinking about subarachnoid hemorrhage, but unfortunately USMLE does not test us this way anymore. They're not focused on buzzwords. You would barely see any buzzwords. Instead, they will probably describe the condition as sudden onset headache with xanthochromia on spinal tap. So don't just memorize buzzwords because that's not going to help you. Try to understand the concept behind it and try to understand the clinical pathology on a whole. So having said all this, how hard did I personally find it? So each block has 40 questions. So out of those 40 questions, I feel like I was able to do around 25 to 27 of them purely based on my CMS forms, UWorld, Divine Intervention and Anki and all the other resources. There would be like 2 or 3 questions per blog in which you will literally have no idea what they're talking about. These are like the WTF questions and they are going to be there. They might just be experimental questions for all you know, so just let them be. And the remaining questions are the ones where I was stuck with just 2 options, and it's honestly so frustrating when you're able to eliminate everything but you're just stuck with 2. So those were the ones that were actually challenging, and I feel those are the ones that are the game changer. I feel one of the hardest things to do is to just move on from a question where you aren't sure of the answer. You just want to hold on to it and try to get to some reasonable conclusion, but you have to fight every will to do that. Just flag that question, move on to the next one and solve it with a fresh mind, because your time is limited and you don't want to spend a lot of time on just one question. You don't want to leave any question unattempted. Another thing that I had to deal with was to not let my experience with a hard question bring me down, because the exam is like a mixture of hard and easy questions. But sometimes these difficult questions can literally crush your confidence, but you should not let that happen to you. Just think about it as just one question, leave it, and keep moving forward. And honestly, the biggest challenge is to hold on to this mindset, maintain your focus, think quickly, and do so for 9 full hours. So, a lot of people have told me that step 2 is easier than step 1, but I disagree out here because, okay, so personally, from my experience, when I finished the exam and came out, I felt better after step 2 than I did after step 1. But I feel that's majorly because in step 1 I couldn't manage my time properly, so I did leave a few questions unattempted, so I felt terrible about it. But with step 2, I practiced long questions and I practiced time management really well, so I sort of felt better after step 2. But when you're considering the degree of difficulty, I feel step 2 is harder because there's like so much to memorize, there's loads of protocols, and although there's like one fixed protocol, there are still special case scenarios for each of them. So you need to know that as well. And then there's vaccination schedule, and then there's like biophysical profile, and there's just like too many scores and criteria that you have to remember. So that is quite challenging. What I liked about studying for step 2 CK was that it was more clinically relevant. Also, the questions on step 2 are longer than they were on step 1, and you also have these drug ad questions where they literally give you like a whole ad and then you have to interpret it and answer biostatistic questions based on that. I don't quite mind those questions because they are majorly logical, but then they take up a lot of time. So make sure you practice those questions. I'll try to make a video on that also. If I'm able to put those things into proper words, I will try to make a video on that as well. So it's like you have to read fast, and at the same time you should not miss keywords. So I received my results on the 14th of April, which was literally 2 weeks after my exam. I got the score at 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I scored a 240. When I first read my score report, I was a little disappointed because my target was 250 and I was a little sad that I could not achieve that. Like, my dad was right next to me when I was opening my score report, and he was extremely happy, and he even started making plans to celebrate and what we had to order, what should we do, blah 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 blah. So I was like, as much as I wanted to celebrate, but deep down I just couldn't because I was still feeling really, I was just feeling disappointed about it. And then I spoke to my mentor, who is a doctor at Rush University Medical Center, and the first thing he told me was that he was extremely proud of my work, and he also mentioned that being able to do so much as a medical student is a huge deal. I ended up telling my friends, and I posted my story on Instagram, and then oh my god, like, your comments and your messages were like so sweet. I think those really did make me very, very, very happy. So basically, I had mixed feelings. I was a little sad that I couldn't achieve my goal, but I was definitely happy for many reasons. Firstly, I completed the USMLE Step 1 and USMLE Step 2 CK before graduating without any gap years. And most international medical students do it after graduation. And I completed both the USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 at the age of 23. Whereas even students in the US end up completing both these exams only when they're like 25 and above. And I have been doing really well in my clinical rotations. I'm able to apply what I learned while studying for the Step 2 CK, and I'm able to use it clinically to help a patient. So I think that is something that I'm extremely proud of. Ultimately, my score is good for all the programs that I want to apply to. So I think that is enough for me, and that is my big picture. So I'd say I was 50% happy, 50% sad, and ultimately 100% satisfied. Would I let 10 marks stop me from celebrating? Absolutely not.